Hello everyone, Shadefire here, and welcome to the start of my playthrough of Apsulov End of Gods. So, there were a few people asking me to do a full playthrough of this, but honestly, it's a bit of a final station situation for me, where I did a first impressions, and then not long after, I ended up playing through the whole game, and I liked it enough that I wanted to share the story by doing a playthrough. So this is not a blind playthrough, I've already finished the game, but we're going to go through this, and I want to share the experience of Apsulov with y'all. Let's get back in here. Of course, this video is going to be mostly retreading the same stuff as the first impressions, but I think I'm going to release the first two episodes together so that there's some new stuff as well. So, let's get in here. I'm not really sure if the difficulty matters that much, so I don't think it's worth doing it on Berserker. I'll just do Viking. And once again, we get to wake up to this wonderful surgical procedure.
Some slight movement. Her responses and cognitive abilities seem to work as intended. Good morning, my dear. Now snap streets.
Here's us in our Viking Ren Fair attire. Is there like a Nordic equivalent
I see. No more surprising.
to a Renaissance fair where everyone dresses up like Vikings?
Who are you?
Repeat that, my dear. I didn't quite catch it.
Who are you? Where am I?
It seems your throat muscles need some time to recover. I'll fix that for you later. Otherwise, this whole procedure would have been a waste of my precious time. Let us continue. Can you see the line?
Sassy ass surgical bot.
Something waiting for you there.
Not sure why this kind of glows.
That's a lock. Find the key that unlocks it. Good. Now, over to the next light.
I'm not really sure. I guess this is meant to be a tutorial to be like, hey, these are boxes you can open. These are things that you can use keys on. This is a keypad.
Remember the numbers. 1, 4, 3, 6. There you go. Now, over to the last light.
I mean, it's not the worst integrated tutorial. At least she's not having us look at lights.
Talking already. I can't understand you before your thought has been applauded. So stop talking! Now, the light. Get over there.
I'm not really sure what's clogging the throat, but it's unpleasant.
This happened. Very well. Now you can see what we see. Now stop acting out this ridiculous drama and use your gifts.
No! What the hell did you do to me?
Shut up! I cannot understand you. Stop straining your already weak throat, or you will never see. If that happens, then you are useless to me, and I would be forced to reuse some worthless old of me. Not even worthy of being incinerated. Now, use that gift that I granted you, and choose your side. Show me who you are.
Alright, so this I didn't actually do last time. I guess I got too impatient in the first impressions and just went through the hole in the floor. Well, who do we want to be? Don't really know.
Did you not hear what I... My dear, sight.
Sorry, I can't understand you. Let's be this one.
By the souls of the damned. I refuse to believe it. You failure. This is all I have created. A myth has forgotten throughout history.
I don't.
Not for you. So don't you dare. I'll fix you later.
So I totally missed that on the start of my playthrough, so hey, I guess we are seeing something new. It does make sense though, because when you see it next, it's like, I told you to stay put, and that hadn't happened. So, you're gonna have to get used to this vision mode, because there are large stretches of this game that are almost entirely pitch black without it, so...
Alice, I
hope it's not too
Lord,
distracting.
that you safely find this and that your escape is successful. You have to hurry. As soon as the spirit notices, he will come after you, and I don't know what he will do to you. The myth has taken control over everything. You have to find me right away. Use your sight to look for the symbols that will guide you to me.
Message saved by Frost Personal Digital Assistant.
Alright, so we have our HUD here, which I guess is just on our eye. But you don't really need this too much, it just kind of tells you what level of key clearance you have. This game does have clearance levels. Alright, I don't think we need our sight just yet. So yeah, this is a game that I just really enjoyed. The setting and the story. This kind of, hey, Viking mythology was real, but it's actually kind of worse than we thought. And the sign that he tells us to look for is this one, though I don't know how you're supposed to know specifically that it's that one, aside from intuiting it. One thing I will say is, there's not really too much of any one specific type of gameplay in this game. It's not like you're doing a whole bunch of combat, or a whole bunch of stealth, or a whole bunch of puzzles.
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing down there? Why the fuck did you seal the entrance? Tell Dr. Anderson to shut it down immediately. The roots are spreading to populated areas. People are dying. I know you people are behind this. Shut it down right now. Creatures are coming through.
Message received at 9:32, 15th of August, 2027.
So we're not too far in the future here. And unfortunately, we still cannot speak because of the goop in our throat. But yeah, there's not too much of any one kind of gameplay in this. It's just kind of a little bit of a bunch of different things. But the story kind of carries you through it. And I don't think it's bad gameplay. It's just, you don't really do any one thing. It's definitely not a walking sim, though, I will say that for it. Or even a just run away from things kind of horror. It's a little bit of that. Also, I don't think we'll be leaning too much just because I tend to forget that it exists. Again, we're not going to be super heavy on stealth in this game, so it's not that important to lean. Also, your health does regenerate, so anytime we got this red screen, it means we're damaged, but it'll kind of fade away. So my initial impression was that this is a Spriggan, but no, it's actually something else. This is the representation of the spirit, which is not really a spoiler or anything, considering it talks to us through it. Let's just save a little bit of our soul in there.
A soul stone activated? But I thought you were supposed to stay put, my dear. Instead, like the ungrateful waste of life that you are, you decided to leave my merciful embrace. A decision you will regret in the dark.
I mean, it doesn't seem any darker in here. But of course, they've shut off the lights up ahead. I'm not sure why that statue is down here in the ventilation system, or next to it. But we are in an underground facility, so there is some pretty extensive ventilation. But yeah, so a lot of the game is like this, if I turn off the vision mode. Oh, hello. That's what you want to see when your eyes turn back on. But these fellas are not too hard to just run away from. They don't really chase you endlessly. It's like, oh, if you stumble into them, they'll punch your face in, but they're not really too into it. They've kind of got their own problems to worry about. I don't really know what to call these guys. Even having completed the game, they don't really have, like, a proper label. One thing they do have in common is that they're always quite distraught about, I guess, being what they are. And they do speak in Swedish, I believe, since the facility is located in northern Sweden. There are no subtitles for what they say, though, so... Unless we have some Swedish viewers in here, I have no idea what they yell at you when they come and punch your head in. Also, I think they need to hit you 3 times on this difficulty to kill you. It might only be 2, but... I get the feeling it's 3. I don't think I've ever actually been killed by one of them. So this is all pretty much the same as it was. No. I have been spotted. My first impressions video, I thought that they were afraid of light because of this area, but no, it's, again, they just don't care about chasing you that much. So we'll get used to getting a few bruises from these guys. Maybe I'll just call them horned ones. I need some way to refer to them. My dude, you gotta stop going back through there. I need to get through. Or you can just go all the way through. That works too. Another thing you'll have to get used to is that I'm gonna have to turn off my eye a lot. I feel like the recharging on this thing is kind of unnecessary, since a lot of the times you can just stand still and wait for it to recharge, so it's just a little bit of a tedium mechanic, and you never upgrade it, so it's not like you ever get a longer time before you have to charge your eyeball. So there'll be a lot of that. Ow. See, look, they get one good blow in, and then they're like, eh, you done? Okay, this one seems a little more determined than usual. Ow. But like I said, stealth is not that mandatory. I suppose on higher difficulties it would be a little more mandatory because, you know, you can only take one hit.
Lower cooling.
But once they lose their deer skull, they seem to be a little less concerned about you. Also, if you look at the face, they look a lot like regenerators from Resident Evil 4. Huh.
Upper cooling.
I don't remember that one disappearing. It's a little more unnerving. You can see here, this is actually a level 7 door, which means we aren't going to be opening that anytime soon, as well as that one. Oh, I guess it saved my collectibles from my own playthrough, where I did not find them all, but I did find most of them. Since they do absolutely nothing, that's not really a concern for the LP, though. I don't think they unlock anything. Because, like, completing it on different difficulties unlocks concept art and stuff, but I don't think the collectibles give you anything. Why are these fans all so well lit?
I've been leading my team to go through the routes to fetch artifacts for Warcorp for over 3 months now. I know it's not my place to question my orders, but I can no longer deem transportation through the routes as safe. It wasn't a problem when we thought the other worlds were inhabited and dead. But last time Team 4 went through, we were fully armed, and still only half of us came back. And these roots, they're still spreading. Before the power of the gods, we are nothing.
Small and insignificant before the gods. So let's see, where did I end the first impressions? I believe it is after going through the first route. Also, kind of wondering what this chamber was for. It's just massive hole. Maybe it was already here.
Do you see? She left because she hates you. She left you all alone here. If you don't want to be alone forever, you need to get her back from me. Can you do that? No? Go get her back. Make your father proud. Stupid, disgusting creature.
So that wolfy fella was the worthless chunk of meat that the spirit was referring to earlier. You know, for such a large doggo, you think he'd be able to pull up these thin gratings with his paws. But he sort of half-assed it. Thankfully, despite the large amount of vent crawling we're doing right now, it's not really something you do for most of the game. There's not an over-dependence on vents. Okay, there was a collectible there. So yeah, I guess I don't have to look for the collectibles at all. I mean, they're usually in, like, slightly out-of-the-way spots, but generally there's nothing else around them. I am going to try to pick up all the lore I can, though, because that stuff is interesting. Okay, so we have a keypad door here, 6725. I don't remember if this actually leads anywhere that we can go to. It'd be interesting if that code that you're given at the start by the spirit actually did open something somewhere in the game. You know, kind of like a, hey, you need to remember this, and then if you remember it, hey, it actually was worth remembering. Okay, so we have a little bit of a sneak to do here. Nope, you didn't see anything. 7913. We don't have clearance for artifact research. Because we need that code. Most of the elevators are actually clearance locked, but not this one.
Floor 2. Artifact research.
I think this is supposed to be Dr. Henrik. I'd like to get a good look at one of these guys in the light, because you don't really get that opportunity very often. Excuse me, miss. I need you to chase me into the light so that I can look at you. Oh. Hey. Hey. Hello. There we go. Yes, you. Oi. Ow. Not quite the reaction I wanted. Spleen. Alright, I might have pushed my luck a little bit there. And if you ever wanted to know where you go when you die, it is this room. So, yeah, death is a little weird in this game. When you die, you end up here, where this thing patrols around, and you gotta take these balls, and you put these balls on these platforms, and then you fall into this hole. However, if the thing catches you, then you die. All I wanted was a good thumbnail of this lady. And she couldn't oblige me. Okay, this just loops back around. I definitely don't know this facility top to bottom, though. Nope, no need to chase me. Or maybe that's level 1 clearance. It's hard to tell with the font they chose. Well, we're not getting through here without clearance. So back into the vent.
Dr. Lisa Svensson, Supervisor, Day 3 of tablet analysis. We received several stone tablets from Front on Fire with inscriptions apparently symbolizing the 9 realms of the World Tree. Initial analysis shows that the tablet emits an energy field boosting cell regeneration. End of note.
Now, I don't actually know where Svartalfheim is supposed to be, but again, I don't know my 9 realms of Norse mythology that well. I mean, there's some areas that do look really good when you turn off your eyes, it's just there's a lot of darkness in between them. Now, which way do we want to go? I think that leads us to the purposeless control room. Sneak past the meat lady. Which I think that's a meat man. This is just a collectible. No logs or anything. Now, one thing that's really handy is that when you have the vision mode on, pretty much anything important that you can interact with has a distinct sound to it. Like, audio logs have a sound, collectibles have a sound, some of the stuff we haven't seen yet has its own sound. So I think that's a really good design. Doors with this, if you listen here, they also have their own, like, marble rolling around sound. So, some pretty good sound design. Not just on that, but on other things as well.
Mythology Research, Note 6. The expeditions to Asgard have proven fruitful yet again. The team brought back several shields that seem to possess a number of strange capabilities which are completely out of our control. According to the myth, these shields seem to have belonged to the winged creatures known as Valkyries. The mission of these creatures were to bring dead warriors to an afterlife in Valhalla, and must have possessed enormous powers.
I mean, even the afterlife is a little confusing in Norse mythology because it's like some people go to Valhalla, some people go to Helheim, which may or may not be in Niflheim, or it might be its own world. But then there's also like 3 other people who are responsible for the dead, including the god of the sea. So I'm not 100% clear on what the final decision is on these things. But they seem to have found quite a few of these Valkyrie shields, which seemed like they would have been a pain in the ass to transport. And also seems like the Valkyries would have been real big. I think this is another one of the horned ones. Just, you know, without the skull and any limbs. But we'll take this because it'll come in handy. The way that clearance works in this facility is just embedded RFID chips in people's hands. Just let him squish along. I still didn't look up what this instrument is. But it is interesting that you can only hear it when you have the vision on. Okay, well now that we got the clearance, let's just make our way back to the door. A lot of the time you can actually just sprint around. Guess he's not too fond of the horn folks either. Or maybe he was just hungry. Now, maybe my perspective is a little confused when I came out of that vent, but wasn't that just, like, right here? And then he ran off through this door? Find a way to open the airlock. So, like, you can hear here. That's the sound that audio logs make.
Mythology research, note 1.
So it's easy to not miss any of them.
Surrounding the ancient objects we have recovered. Just like assumed, most of these stories corresponds only a little with the true events of the past. Giants and fire giants are very much like the descriptions, but the Vanir and Aesir gods differ a lot from their noble fairy tale versions. Some stories are not even close to as gruesome as they are in real life. More of these stories later.
Yeah, taking a nap there? Getting real cozy? Follow these goopy, pulsing roots, which is really our only path at the moment. Huh. Well, we seem to have lost the wall here, but at least this panel is still there, so you can still use the elevator, even with a ghost wall. Alright, this looks perfectly welcoming, and not like a mouth from a creature belonging to the Upside Down. Traveling through this route has led us to one of the other realms. However, I'm not sure which realm this is supposed to be. Like, I guess it could also be Niflheim? because it's dark and foggy and a little snowy. Do I ignore these crackly observers? And then make a break for it. Jump. Yeah, that didn't work so well. There's no escaping the horrible flesh beasts who hunger for limbs.
Shit, what am I doing? Come on. Just a little bit further. If I would have been 5 seconds late, the demons would have torn you apart. The great Odin spared your life, but left you broken. But that's okay, because I fixed you. No, you know what? I made you better. Remarkable, isn't it?
What?
No, you stay down. The anesthetics haven't left your system yet.
Oh, my head.
Okay, let's see here. Speech should be fine. I prepared the tissue. Yeah, I gave the bone structure a checkup as well. And the arm? How does it feel?
I don't think that has any bone structure.
When it's bonding to you. Huh. I know. I have a few of my own. Anyway, I have much to prepare. You rest for now.
That thing looks so, like, crudely and painfully attached. Like, the flesh around the base is just kind of squished outward from it.
Henrik, look at her. It's Alice.
The injuries she suffered and survived. It's not human.
That doesn't mean she's not.
Who are you?
By Odin.
My voice.
She even sounds like... Yes. Yes. I fixed your voice. And your arm.
Who are you? What's going on?
I'm Henrik Anderson, the CEO of Borcorp. The voice you're hearing is my wife, Sarah. She's up on the surface well.
Unfortunately,
You and I are stuck down here.
the things happening down there are happening up here as well. And it's getting worse by the minute.
What did you do to me?
I brought you back from Helheim.
Henrik, calm down. The journey to save her almost killed you. I don't want to lose you. Since she already has the prosthetic installed, tell her about it.
Fine. Your new arm holds great power. Charged by Atrium, it can channel a magnificent force. It's based upon ancient knowledge uncovered by my wife.
And brought into fruition by Henrik. The arm is called Jerngreper.
You brought a hand with you. Use the Jerngreper to extract the RFID from it. You'll gain access to all doors with that level of security clearance.
I guess she just had the hand in a pocket.
On the table, and they use it downstairs on the lock.
I know this is a lot to ask, but we're not taking this lightly. Please. We'll tell you more as you go.
So, it was never really clear in the first playthrough where the Jerngreper came from, but I guess based on what he said there, he actually just built this based on some of the artifact technology that he discovered, and it's not actually an ancient artifact. Okay, so that is just level 1 clearance. It's a weird font they went with. But I think, now that we have the Jerngreper, we are going to save here and continue into episode 2 next time, while we'll go a little further than I did in the first impressions video. So, apologies if you watched that, and then you're watching this and not getting anything new, but again, that second episode should be up right after this one. So, until then, I've been Shadefire, this is Apsulov, End of Gods, and I hope you'll join me next time as we find out who we are and why we're stuck in this horrible place. Take care, everyone.